Hello out there. Welcome to another ornament making live stream, another perfectly or peaceful pinning, not perfectly pinned. Today I'm going to be doing a Peekaboo pumpkin. I'm going to be following along with one of our 3 Ornament Girl books. Really quick, I just wanted to kind of do an aside for those of you who may be watching this after the fact, like later on when it's not live. Do keep in mind that this is a live stream. It's not going to be a step-by-step tutorial of how to make this. It's more of a just kind of like watch along. If you want to make it along with me, that's totally fine. If you want to try to do that, if you've made these before or if you're ready to go. But that's not really what it's meant for. So it's a good place to ask questions if you want to, just kind of chit chat and really hopefully get inspired by what I show and what I'm doing. Hopefully inspire you to make these yourself. So that's kind of the point of this. I just wanted to put that out there because I've noticed on my last couple of live streams after the fact, people are asking when I'm going to start giving the instructions. And with that being said, we have tons of free tutorials on this channel, and those tutorials usually come with printable supply lists, templates whenever they're needed, and everything's free that you'll find on this channel. So please feel free to check that out for those tutorials if you want to learn how to make some of these ornaments step by step. Okay, so for today though, I'm going to be doing a Peekaboo pumpkin. Looks like this. Here's a couple of them. I'm going to be using some fabrics that we've got right now in the shop. Let me just check on everything really quick and make sure I'm actually live. Sorry guys, bear with me for just a second. Okay, I am indeed live, so that's good. Say hi if you're watching so I know you're there. Anyway, these are a couple of examples similar to what I'm going to be making today. I'm doing a Halloween theme because it's Halloween. Happy Halloween, by the way. But you could make these really in any fabrics that you wanted to. They look great on the Thanksgiving table. They make awesome placeholders too. You could stick a little place card at the top with people's names, and that's really, really cute. Here's another different Halloween one. These I just made with stash fabrics a while back. That's super cute. So today I'm going to be using these fabrics. Hello guys, thanks for being here. This is a fabric bundle that we've got in the Ornament Girl shop right now. I think we called this one Goth Gardens. It's got 4 different fabrics in it that are perfectly coordinated for ornaments. And it's got this fabric with the print on it, which is the cutest. And it's got these larger sections of print here that are great for other types of ornaments that we do here. But what we came up with is using these little tiny things that are in between. They're actually on the border between the larger images. And that is what we're going to be using kind of as a fussy cut. Here, I'll show you this one. On the little sections of the pumpkin. So it's really, really cute. Little teeny tiny sections of the fabric. And again, if you're just tuning in, I'm just making a Peekaboo pumpkin. I'm just following along with our pattern book. I won't be talking about every single instruction step by step. I'm just going to be kind of going along. And I'm going to try to not talk too much except for to answer questions or whatever might be needed. This pattern is, it's a simple pattern and it's pretty quick, but it can be a little fussy sometimes. It seems like every time I make this, it goes a little bit differently than the time before. So we'll see how it goes here on this live. These little pieces don't cover the segments all the way, and we did that on purpose in this pattern because if you make these pieces too big where they cover the whole thing, then they're really hard to lay flat later when we're putting the rest of the fabric on that's going to go between these pieces. So doing it this way seems weird now, but it makes it a little bit easier in the next part of the pattern. And if you're just popping on right now, this is going to be similar to the one that I'm going to hopefully end up with when I'm all done. Really cute little pumpkin. Okay, that's the easy part. All right, so now I'm gonna, excuse me, I'm gonna put some bands, little mini bands of fabric down in between of all of these sections. Now in the original pattern, we actually also covered the stem in the beginning before we put the bands on, but that's not even gonna be necessary for me right now because I'm just gonna pop a big bow right down on top, and that's gonna hide this foam here on the top. Sometimes, depending on how you cover the top, you may need to put a piece of fabric up here to make sure that the foam doesn't show through. And I do a little marker pin in between of each segment as I go, just to help keep, like, line up my band as I'm putting it on. And I'm just kind of creating a little mini band by folding this in thirds. Betty asked, the cloth and the styrofoam, where are you getting it? So we have these foam pumpkins in the Ornament Girl shop. I did put a link below in the description. If you're interested, you could really use any foam pumpkin and just adjust your fabric pieces for the pattern accordingly. So if you have a bigger foam pumpkin, just cut bigger pieces of fabric. And I've heard of people doing that. It seems like a lot of people say they find the foam pumpkins, they're like supposed to be decorations, but people use them for these at the dollar store. So I've heard that. And then also this fabric, I'm trying to remember who this fabric is by. I can't remember now. We also have it in the Ornament Girl shop. I did put a link below to that as well. And here's what it looks like before it was cut into the fussy cuts. It's really cute. I believe we have about 40 of these bundles left in the shop. Let me go ahead and move my pen. You could iron these ahead of time, like these little mini bands. The reason I don't is just because I kind of like to form them and widen them or make them more narrow as I go, because you just never know how it's going to turn out when you're doing this. And some of these segments are a little wider than others. It's a very imperfect pumpkin, so it's kind of helpful to just be able to play with it and manipulate it as you go. And if you iron them first, it is a little bit more difficult to do that. And we have a little overlapping, underlapping kind of technique for the bottom here, which helps keep everything really nice and neat on the bottom and just makes it a little bit easier to cover all the raw edges and pins at the end. Hello to those of you who are just joining. Hi Stacy. Hi PJ. Hi Robin, it's good to see you again. I know I was a bit late getting on here today. I said I was going to try to get on around noon and I was having a hard time getting my act together today. Hi Kathy. You have to love autocorrect. I was saying a little while ago that this one can be a little fussy. Can be a little fussy to get it all smooth and looking good. It's not really a difficult pattern, but you just have to kind of finagle these fabrics just a little bit sometimes to make it all come out good. Keeping the bottom as neat as possible. That's going to make it a little easier to hide things. Although for this one, I'm going to be just putting a filigree medallion right on the bottom, and that's going to cover a multitude of sins. But sometimes we do a little more simple, just put some little beaded feet on the bottom. And so the better you can keep things, like neater that you can keep things on the bottom, it just makes it a little bit easier. Kathleen said, I ordered some items from your online store and I hope they come soon. We try to get things out as quickly as possible, Kathleen, so I hope you'll get them within a couple of days. Robin said, gearing up for Halloween. Does anybody have any fun plans for Halloween? I really don't have too many plans. I think I'll just be hanging out. This fabric is shedding. Okay, so far so good. I forgot to move my little pin. Kathy said, I have to check my Ornament Girl stash and see if I have a pumpkin. And also going bowling. Oh, you're dressing up as a minion. That's funny. Got a little section there that my fabric didn't come down low enough. See if I can tug it down just a touch. Didn't quite get it down enough, but I'm gonna leave it. I'm not gonna take it apart and redo it, even though I should. But it's the bottom. It's not going to show when it's sitting there. Robin said, I love Minions. Have lots of outdoor decorations with the Minions. They are really cute movies. Kathy said, I'm older, but I don't ever act my age. I'm a yellow minion and my best friend will be the purple one. That's super fun. Did you ever see our minion ornament? Our little minion themed, was it a basic star? No, it wasn't a basic star. I'm trying to remember what it was, which pattern it was. It was one that Monica did a long time ago. The strings on this fabric are killing me. There we go. Robin, what are you dressing up as? Not really happy with how that one came out. I'm trying to not be a perfectionist here, but that is bugging me. Okay, I think that looks better. Now I am also going to be putting trim in between, so some of these little wonky lines that I've got is going to be totally covered up, and it's going to look like that. So that you almost can't see the line at all once you put some trim down in between, which really, really helps. Nice, Robin. That's awesome. My son would like that. He's a huge fan. I keep thinking that that's a string from the orange fabric, but it's part of the print from below. Okay, we're like halfway there, a little bit more than halfway there. Oops, the bottom of my band is coming undone down there. Let's fix that. I was telling the girls in the shop this morning, when I told him I was going to do this one on the live today, I said I'm kind of nervous about doing this one live because it's so fussy sometimes. Sometimes you can make it and everything comes out perfect and it's fine. And sometimes it feels like you're just fighting with the fabric and you just never know. And I did a quick run through before I went live, and that's the one I did here. And I had no trouble with my fabric, and I thought, okay, I got this. And now I'm live, and I'm having all kinds of little issues down here with this fabric. Yes, Robin, that's right. I forgot the half and half pattern. Looks difficult, but isn't hard at all, and then you just embellish to look like the minion. That's right. We got just a couple more little mini bands to go. I'm folding these to about a 1/2 inch. I'm not measuring or anything, I'm just eyeballing, but that's about the width that I'm folding these. It just depends on the pumpkin that you have, how big it is, and how much you need to cover. I think this piece I got a little too far to the left. Just adjust that a touch. Might need a slightly wider band here to cover that space I left myself there. Okay. All right, that's it for the bands, and I'm gonna do a trim wrapped around I've got some Ivory Rosette trim here, which I'm going to wrap around between all of those bands and just help hide all those messy little squiggly lines that I've got between. Stacy said we're a colorful bunch, so our office team has dressed up as crayons today. That's funny. You all dressed up as crayons? What color crayon are you? Get a sip of my coffee real quick. This Rosette trim is really nice for these like this specific pattern because it's easy to wrap and twist around. We've got the black also. I think either color would look good with this color scheme I got going here. Stacy is the purple crayon today. Wow, my piece is just, oh, it's not just reaching. So I do have some extra over here. So I think what I'm gonna do is cut it. I'll cut it first and then I'll pin it. And I'm not worried about the top being cut because I'm plopping a bow right on top of here in just a couple minutes. So this is going to get covered up. I didn't want to cut it at the bottom because that's the part that will have a little less coverage. If you have a trim that has like even like looser weave like than this does, because this has a couple sections I can pin through and actually hold it down, but sometimes trims can be really loosely woven and it's hard to get it to stay. You could use beaded pins or pearl tip pins to just hold it strategically around and use that as part of your decoration, and it can work. C. Lavino said, "Hi Stacy Ann, this is Carol." Hi Carol, and I just want to say that you have incredible patience. I'm actually a crocheter and speed is my thing, but watching you is a wonderful change of pace. Thank you so much, Carol. I'm not always patient, believe me. Hi Phil, I was late today too. I was gonna try to start around 12 noon Eastern and I didn't quite make it. I was like an hour and a half late, I think, or almost an hour and a half. How are you liking this cool weather we're having here in Florida these past couple of days? Okay, so we'll do a couple of bows on the top, and I also have these little filigree leaves that I'm gonna use. I'm gonna put one on here. I've got my filigree medallion for the bottom as well. And I've got my black ribbon. I've got some black ribbon here, but my other ribbon is off, just off to the side here, so I gotta cut myself a piece really quick. I'm gonna do 2 bows on top of each other. I'm gonna do the gift bow style, so I need to get a couple different pieces of each color. Sorry, I'm off camera here for just a second. Okay, so my bottom bow is going to be made with 7-inch pieces. That'll be the slightly bigger bow, and then I'm going to do a slightly smaller bow with 6-inch pieces. Okay, there's my 6-inch pieces, and I'm gonna put the little leaf on first, and I'm just gonna kind of give it a little curve. It's really flat, but I want it to curve a little bit. I was gonna pin that right there next to the stem, so it'll kind of peek out from underneath of my bow. Phil said, I love the cool. I'm originally from Washington, D.C. Phil, I'm from Maryland, so we were practically neighbors from Baltimore. I agree with you. I love it. I love this cool weather. Tomorrow is my gardening day, and I can't wait to get out there and just be in this beautiful weather. I didn't cut that very even. Let's cut that edge off. So these were all 7-inch strips, and so when I make these loops here for the bow, they're going to be just a little bit bigger than the next bow that I cut 6-inch strips for. It's a small world, Bill. How long have you lived in Florida? Okay, there's bow number 1. And I'm gonna smush down my stem just a little bit, and then we'll push this down right on top. Now I'm going to do the second bow pretty much the same way, except that I want to start with a beaded pin. Yes, I'm going to do the same thing I did on, was it this one? No, it was this one. This one here. I have a little mini black headed pin, mini head, and I'm going to put orange crystal bead onto that, and then that's what I'm gonna pin through these ribbon pieces with. That way I have a cute top, because I'm not gonna do a hanger for this. This is more of like, you could totally hang these if you wanted to, but these make really good sit about ornaments. Look how terrible of a job I did cutting these pieces of ribbon evenly. That's okay. 30 years. Moved because of my government job at the time. Robin said, I'm so glad Stacey's doing this. It's calming. Thanks for saying that, Robin. I appreciate that. I'm glad too. It's been really fun. I think I'm getting into the groove of it a little more. I do have, I've seen a few comments from people after the fact, after the live stream and when it's up on the channel, saying that they are waiting for me to give the instructions. So I know that's probably confusing for people watching after the fact. But for those of you watching after the fact, instructions, we've got lots of instructions on the channel, lots of freebie things, but these are meant to be more just peaceful pinning. So that's going right on top. That looks really cute. The only thing I really need to do, you could always embellish the side and stuff like that, but I think the only thing I'm going to do now is just put something across the bottom here to hide this. Now you could do like we did here with one of these little medallions. I mean, that's kind of like covers everything. Or if you don't really have a lot of messiness, and honestly, it's not really too bad down here. I've got a couple pins showing, which I could just pull out. But you could also just make little beaded feet. You stick a couple of beads onto like 4 pins and then have it sit like it has little feet, and you can adjust the pins, pulling them up or pushing them in so that it sits evenly. Because the trim, of course, will make it like bumpy, and so it'll wobble around if you don't do something like that. So I think I will just go ahead and do one of these guys, and that's going to make it sit pretty even. And I'm going to use some little black pins to hold this on. That looks pretty good. And then it sits with no wobble. I think that's pretty much all I'm going to do for this one. I mean, honestly, the possibilities for these are kind of endless. I say that about all of our patterns. But you could do them with so many different kinds of fabric. You know, obviously it doesn't have to be just Halloween. I have Halloween examples here for today because it's Halloween, but you can even do them for Christmas, and they do look really, really good for Thanksgiving as well. I was following along with our book. A lot of you guys already know that we came out with 3 printed books, and this was the second one, but on the back here is a couple of examples. Let me make sure I'm in the camera. There's such a delay that I can't. Here we go. So you could do like a fall theme like this. That is really cute for like a Thanksgiving or just September, things like that. This is like my favorite one I think I've ever made. The shabby pink pearls, roses, that kind of thing. But honestly, you can really do so many things with these, and they make really, really cute placeholders on the table. So guys, that's it for today. I'm gonna try to come back on Monday with another one. The one I've been wanting to do for about a week is a ribbon basic star. I think that's what I'm gonna try to do Monday when I come back on here for a live. So thanks guys, thanks for being here and watching and pinning along with me if you were pinning along. If you've got any questions, please as always put them in the comments and I will come back and help you out the best that I can. Alrighty, have a good day and a happy and safe Halloween, and I'll see ya on the next one. Happy ornamenting. Thanks, Robin. Bye, guys. Happy ornamenting.